guys, how's it going? Welcome to this week's recap video. I hope you've all had a really great weekend thus far. It's been another beautiful week for us here in Eastern Oregon. It's been just like perfect days.
Yeah.
Cool in the morning, and it gets up to like in the high 70s, 80s, although today it's supposed to be like 91, which, you know, come on.
There's a little gravel to your voice right there.
I mean, it's nice. It's making everything hold on a lot longer. And I've been watching our forecast because you guys know that the DreamStream installation is next week. I'm so excited. But I've been watching the forecast to see what it's going to be like, and it's going to be so much better than it was last year. So it shows 3 days of the installation right now, 76, 74, 74.
Nice.
Are the highs, and it's 47 in the morning. So it's going to start off sweatshirts and then be just beautiful.
It's good working weather. Well, honestly, like maybe high 60s is good working weather.
It'll be so nice because last year when they were here, it was toward the end of July and it was 105, 106.
Yeah.
We had a huge windstorm one of the evenings. And I mean, people were working out in a big pile of our powder dirt. So they got to experience what that's like. Not all that pleasant when it's 105 degrees and the wind's blowing that powder everywhere.
Right.
Oh, so it should be beautiful, and I'm really looking forward to it. Real quick, before we jump into the questions from the videos, we are running a 2-day sale from our shop, gardenanswer.com. It's kind of a moving to a new warehouse sale. Let's eliminate some of this inventory so that we don't have as much to move. So we are offering 20% off our inventory. That does exclude DeWalt drills. But like if you have been wanting a kneeling pad, or if you need some EDDHA, chelated iron, Mesto sprayer, things like that. If you've been wanting something like that, 20% off just for 2 days. So today, the 29th, and then tomorrow, the 30th.
Help us out.
Yeah.
So we don't have to move it.
We don't have to move quite as much.
It'll be fun though. We'll do a video at some point showing the new warehouse. And it'll be nice. The new warehouse is a little less janky.
Everything all the inventory will be in one space instead of spread out. And it's not like we're moving to it because we need this space for inventory. I mean, one day maybe we will, but we need it for the functionality of the space, basically, to make it more efficient and streamlined for everybody working down there. And I think it will be good. And there's not very many opportunities around here for warehouse space.
If something comes up, you kind of have to jump on it.
Yeah, it's like even if you don't need it quite yet, you better snag it before somebody else does. So anyway, there's that. Let's jump into the videos. The first one was planting a couple of fall containers and harvesting ornamental corn. That was a really fun day. We took after some iron urns that are sitting on our west side sort of area. They had autumn joy sedum in them from 2 fall seasons ago, and it's been beautiful. They've been beautiful there, but I think they're just getting a little bit too big. And the area over the last 2 years has gotten more shaded because the red point maples on the other side of the driveway have grown so much. We need to get out there. And I was noticing a bunch of branches that are coming down. We need to prune. Anyway, we dug those out. We replanted those pots with lemon cypress, some ornamental kale, and some pansies. And then we went out to the corn area in the cut flower garden. And Benjamin and we picked all of the ears and we husked them. Is it husked or dehusked? I don't know. We took the husks down, and it was like Christmas every single time, and Benjamin was so into it to see what color each one of those ears were because they were such an array.
You shuck it. You shuck the corn, right? Isn't that the term?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we didn't actually all the way shuck it. We just peeled the husks down. Probably still referred to as shucking.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I was about to look it up on my phone. I was like, I know that there's a word for that.
Yeah. And then when we were done picking the ears, I cut all of the nice looking stalks and created a bunch of bundles to be used both here and at my parents' house and at my brother's house. So they're all being displayed for fall. So fun. So Giselle said, do you keep the evergreen in the container through the winter? How to maintain? How long can it be kept in that container? Copying the recipe. Depends on what zone you are in. Technically, what is lemon cypress? I kind of forget, and I want to say it's a zone 7, but 7 through 10. So in our area, well, maybe we'll put the USDA zone map to the test. See if they survive in our containers. You
should probably be a zone 8 or a 9, though.
To have it in a container.
In a container.
Yeah. So technically, I need to remove those before it gets too cold, which shouldn't be a hard deal. I can just pop those out, leave the kale and pansies, and put some branches in the center of the container and bring those into the greenhouse. They do make for an excellent houseplant, but let me tell you what, lemon, cypress, and rosemary need a surprising amount of water to stay nice as a house plant. Like out in the landscape, both of them are drought tolerant. They don't want a lot of water, but you bring them in, and if you do not water them, at least for me, because we're dry heat, I mean, they require a lot, like a lot more than my normal house plants to keep them happy. So keep that in mind. Pretty plant though. I love them. I was just down at the garden center yesterday, and they brought in like little baby lemon cypress.
Oh, really?
And they're bright yellow. They're all fresh. And I thought, oh, I got to figure out a way to use some of those. Those are so cute. And maybe fairy garden.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. C.M. Brown said, once you formalize the area where will you plant special projects like this corn or wheat? So the cut flower garden, we are going to formal that space out. I'm still going to be planting things like this, but if I do, I was thinking about this as I was cutting the corn because a lot of it had flopped over in a windstorm. Thought if I do plant things like this, I'm going to employ some major staking like systems out there because in a formal space, I don't want things flopping over onto boxwood hedges or whatever. I want everything to just stay upright. So whatever I do plant out there, I'll have to make sure that I've got a proper system in place, which for the corn, I just have a hard time having it stay upright. I always have. And even Bethany, because I'm growing the same corn she is because she gave me the seed. And she was like, yeah, your wind up here, like mine stays fine. And it's treated the same as yours. It's just like a wind tunnel right here. I don't know what the deal is. However, I think we have lots of opportunity in other spots to just till up a section. I was actually telling Aaron the other night, like maybe right out here, we could just till me a really long row next year.
You always want a really long row when really you need like a 6x6 space.
I know. Well,
you're like, yeah, but you could do it a mile long.
Think of the amount of vine crops you can grow.
Once you discovered drip tape, you're just like, we can go forever.
Across the town.
Yeah.
Mindy said, I just love your family, Laura. Thank you. Awesome job, Benjamin. Can this corn be for eating as well as, or is it strictly ornamental? Also, why are some of the kernels on the tips underdeveloped? Is that a pollination issue? Oh, and Benjamin, my favorite color corn is the dark one with purple husks, but they're all beautiful. So ornamental corn, you could use it for like cornmeal, things like that. It's not like an eating corn, like sweet corn. Like I wouldn't barbecue it and, eat it just off the ear. The tips that are underdeveloped most of the time is a pollination thing. There were a few years where it was very sporadic. Like there would be a kernel and then a bunch of open space around it and then a couple more kernels. It was few and far between though, and it could be that I did have them planted in quite thick. So that could be that. And Sarah said, love the channel. Just a quick question. Are the pure red pansies from Proven Winners? They are not. They're like a Delta Pure Red, I think is the variety name. I don't know if Proven Winners is in the pansy game anymore. They did pansiolas for a while, which were pansy viola cross. So you get kind of some of the pansy features with the hardiness of a viola. They were really pretty. I thought
most
they were.
Proven Winners varieties have like something unique about them that you can't find somewhere else.
Like a growth habit or maybe flower, how floriferous it is.
Some unique feature to it that allows them to kind of like market it. But I think if they can't find something unique that just anybody else has, it's like, well, we'll just let everybody else grow the normal pansy because it's just
a normal pansy.
It's just normal pansy and it's great, But if they can't improve it in some way,
there's a uniqueness about it.
Yeah, then there's no point in them really getting in the game.
Yeah. Serena Baby said, Benjamin, my favorite has the purple kernels in it. Benjamin did ask you guys, because he toured you around a little bit. Yeah. He asked for you to tell him what your favorite color was, and you guys delivered. He was delighted.
Oh, we read him some of the comments, and he was just like, people are texting me.
Yeah.
He thought that was awesome.
He did think that was really awesome. And he talked about it for a couple days.
Yeah.
So cute. Bethany, do you sell your corn seeds? I would love to grow that variety.
We could. She said that she had like 4,000
Yeah,
seeds.
she actually said maybe you could do like you order this amount from the store and we'll throw in a package of seed of Bethany's corn mix into the box. Yeah. We might do something like that.
Yeah, we totally could.
Yeah. The gardener said all the different varieties of trees and bushes are wonderful. My question is, are you planning on doing any more community projects such as the college, your church, or city planters?
We don't have anything on the docket.
It's been a really nice year, to be quite honest. We have so much going on. Life is super, super full right now. And I'm really happy we didn't have all the extracurricular stuff this year.
There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't, like our life is not it
just
probably
this.
seems full, like everything that we show on video, like that seems full, but there's like
That's
whole
only half of
other
our
life
life.
that we have.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other stuff going on too. So, I don't know. This is like the first year that we haven't had something. So we'll probably do
Figure
something
out
in the future.
And Aaron, you've been kind of brainstorming and working with people at the city on doing some kind of a tree project in the future,
Yeah.
possibly. So there might be something like that in the future. But I kind of told Aaron, like, I just want to go into winter. And that's usually when people start asking for commitments for the next year. But I want to go into the winter and through the winter without having to think about any of that stuff. Just to kind of like let the brain rest a little bit, which I think is good and necessary, especially as the kids, you know, there's more demand,
Sure.
you know, for what they're doing. And
Yeah.
Okay. Gardening Granny said, will you dig and store the caladium bulbs? Probably. I usually give those things a shot. I only have a few, you know, sitting there in the container. They're beautiful. I did update you on that. It's called Strawberry Stand. It's a 2025 national recipe from Proven Winners. And it has the White Wonder, Vava Violet, and Scarlet Flame, I think. Those 3 varieties. And it has performed beautifully. I love it.
Yeah, honestly, bulbs seem like the way to go.
It did take him a while. Like, I walked by that, like, just, are you going to do anything? Are you going to do anything?
Yeah.
And then once it started to grow, it just, like, exploded. Pam Lindsay said, so much fun with the corn. I've been watching your old videos. They're so fun. Do you have a video of a tour when you originally purchased the property? Yes. We did it in, like, 4 sections, didn't we?
You can go back on YouTube and just the only playlists that we have are by year. So if you go back to 2016, whatever season that was, probably like season 3 or 4 of Garden Answer, it says the season and the date. But yeah, go back to 2016. It was like May.
We moved in May 1st. So we've been in the house. It'll be 8 full years next May.
Yeah. But I will warn you, those first garden tours, talk about janky. They were, I didn't know anything about stabilizing footage, and so they were all shaky.
But you can see.
And we broke things up into like a 4-part garden tour.
Well, it felt massive.
It did feel massive. And we were like, well, we got to keep the videos to like 10 minutes. People won't watch.
Yeah.
People won't watch past 10 minutes.
Well, that was back in the day when we were creating really short.
Yeah, like 3-minute videos.
Yeah, things that were really sped up. And we talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
Because I still see some short content, and I see it doing well for some people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, but it doesn't translate into anything that's worthwhile, really.
Yeah.
So we just don't do that very much anymore. I don't really miss it all that much.
I do.
Do you?
Yeah, I miss, there was some satisfaction because we used to get a lot of views. Again, it doesn't really translate into much because I don't know if the views are coming from other countries or they kind of felt a little bit like fake views. But yeah, you know, you'll get like a couple million views on a video and it's like fun. But
there was one, did we get 60 million views?
Yeah.
There was a few that like really popped off and got huge numbers.
We got, in 2016 or 17, we got over 1 billion views on Facebook in that year.
But Facebook views are just that is it. That's where it stops.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a fun number you can hang your hat on, but it doesn't mean it, nothing translates into anything.
Yeah, into growing the business.
It doesn't help your business. It did help us gain like followers, but even that now doesn't matter because everything's algorithm based.
Yeah.
So you can have 10 million followers and get no views.
Yeah.
If your content, you know, isn't something that people want to watch. So yeah.
It's just the landscape has changed.
Yeah.
Quite a lot, but I'm really happy with where we're at.
Yeah. I like the stuff that we're making now, but
Yeah.
I do miss editing some of those.
Well, if you ever want to like work on those muscles, I'll do some projects for you
Okay.
if you want. Sometimes I miss like just because I like watching content that's fast.
Yeah.
I don't watch long form videos.
You generally don't watch a lot of content where people are talking.
Yeah. Usually
Right?
it's too much talking. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, I don't really care. Just get to the project,
Yeah.
you know? And I know sometimes I'll watch a video back that we've done because I watch every video before it goes out, minus these the recaps. Aaron watches those back. But every once in a while, I'm like, dang, I talked way too much in this video, or I repeated myself way too much. I just need to get after the project.
Yeah.
So I do apologize for those It's more long-winded ones. I don't know what, like, if my mood's different that day or what. Who knows? Jacqueline said, I think Benjamin is training to take over your job. He is welcome to it. Great job, Benjamin. Question, when do they put out lavender to buy? I live in South Carolina, zone 7, really, LOL. Well, we usually start getting lavender in at the garden center in like March, April. It'll be probably maybe even earlier for you. Yeah. Okay, next video was dressing up the Hartley pots and the back porch stairs for fall. I loved this project. It was so chill. It was just a relaxing time. It was sort of an overcast afternoon, and I knew I just didn't have anything massive or anything like super strenuous. It was just going to be a really nice day. So we dressed up the pots in the front and in the back of the Hartley, and then the kids and I did a pumpkin stair display on the back shade porch stairs. Ellen said, any poison ivy, poison oak down in your gullies? Thickets like yours give me the willies from too many encounters with itchy stuff in the wild. We don't have any of that right here. Do you remember, Erin, when we had the hay racks up front with the bubble gum in them that year? Mm-hmm. We had some stinging nettle come up.
Yeah.
In the hay rack.
Right.
It's like a bird dropped a seed or something.
Right.
Or I don't know. And because I remember I don't wear gloves, and I'm like, oh, there's a weed coming up in that hay rack. So I went over and pulled it out in my hand.
Yeah. That was my first experience with stinging nettle.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. It's like, it stings.
Horrible. So I tossed that, and I've never seen it since. And we don't have it like at my parents' house. I used to go back in the draws back behind our house where there's ponds and things, and never run into anything like that.
It would have either had to have been a bird that dropped something, or it was in the soil, the bagged mix we use, or it was in the pot. Mm-hmm. And all of those.
There's three options.
It had to be one of those three. I mean, the pots, the plants.
The flowers, yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? Loon said, any idea what the rose is with the beautiful rose hips? Must be a rambler. It must be, because its canes are so long. And it's huge. It's a huge plant. That whole back area is sort of interesting. I love to kind of like pick my way through and see if I can identify some of the things. There's a grapevine that's growing like crazy and produced the most delicious grapes back there. There's a couple of fruit trees. There's that rose. There's a couple of roses, actually. And I think that there's a couple more ornamental trees along the way that were on purpose planted. The people we bought that land from, it was attached to the house that's like nearby where I was cutting the rose hips. And it was owned, or it's still owned by the family, but it was the grandparents of the family, and the man was a doctor, but in his off time, gardening was his thing, and he loved to breed bearded iris. Like, he had a field of iris sort of out where our land is, and he would garden with a headlamp. Like, at night, he would be out there just doing his thing and just like completely at peace. So it's kind of fun to know that little bit about that space. Another rose with amazing rose hips is the Morden Blush. I just went and checked on ours because I was looking at that flower bed thinking, am I going to get around to like starting to form this flower bed that we've just created around the Hebe statue and the weeping willow? And I thought, I'm going to have to dig these Morden Blush and move them forward, I think, because I don't think they're going to be tall enough. Like, we need to shift everything and bring the short stuff forward. The rose hips on those are they are phenomenal. They're so pretty. They're huge. Keith said, do you miss growing your own pumpkins and having to go purchase so many? Not really. I think every year it's a little bit different. I'm sort of in the mood possibly to grow some next year. I think I'll do it a little bit differently in that we will till up a real long row and then I'm putting fabric down, and then like burning a hole where I want to put my seeds. That's the way I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And maybe even like running the drip. Can you run the drip tape underneath the landscape fabric? Because all of it will come back up.
Yeah.
So it's like all pinned down.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be kind of nice.
Yeah. Or, I mean, the drip tube. We do not tape. We do the tube, and then we do individual emitters. So if we run that and then run our landscape fabric and then burn the hole, and yeah, that would be so nice. I'm kind of in the mood to try some new varieties.
Sure.
This next year. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I don't miss it at all. It's so fun that my mom brought in pumpkins this year. So I go down and just load up. And she's kind of in a position with the farmer that she contracted with where she can bring in as much or as little as she wants. So I'll tell her, usually I'll give her like several days and say, I need to come down and get a load of pumpkins. And so she'll organize to have a few more brought in. And that sort of thing. Dina said, do the kids watch your videos? If so, can Benjamin read the comments? I wonder how you as parents would handle any negative comments about you and your channel that he may come across. The kids don't watch our videos. The devices that they watch things on, their content is very curated.
Yeah.
I guess you could say. They can't cruise around and watch just anything. But they do watch occasionally, not Samantha, but occasionally Benjamin will like hear himself and he'll come over and be like, oh,
yeah.
He actually told me, I think it was last night, I was watching our video back and he goes, Mama, you do a good job with your videos.
Yeah.
So cute. I don't know what it is. His encouragement is just the best.
I mean, he does read, but reading isn't something that Benjamin loves to do.
It's not something he chooses to do on his off time.
Yeah.
He has learned to read and he can read.
Yeah.
And he has to read every day for school, but
it kind of stops there.
Yeah.
Well, except for last night, he was reading in his room.
He came into our room and he was looking at my stacks of books, and I told him, this is my stack that I read the last couple of months. I've got like a pretty tall stack. I read a lot. And he was like, whoa. And he was flipping through and figuring out how many pages each one of the books was, and I was showing him the other stacks of books that I still have yet to read. And so he went into his room and he said, what did he say to you?
Something about I'm reading because Mama likes to read.
Yeah, it's so cute. And then when I went in there, he was showing me the stacks. And he goes, well, I didn't read so much as just look at all the pictures. Yeah. Like, well, that's fine. Yeah. You can do that too. Julie said, do you have open gardens in your area? I bet locals would love to see yours. There's 1 or 2 organized tours in our valley, usually every year. I know that the College Foundation puts on a tour every year at the end of June.
Kind of a bad time.
It is. It's super hot. It's after your first flush of perennials have, like, you need to cut back
bloomed
perennials
out.
At that time. Yeah. And roses are done for a little while.
But your annuals are, well, a lot of people don't do a ton of annuals. Mm-hmm. But if you do annuals, they're kind of coming into their own by the end of June. But it's kind of like July and August that annuals are, at their fullest.
Yeah. I think the only way I would consider a tour is if it was like the first week of June. Maybe the last week of May.
Yeah.
When things are fresh, things haven't been, riddled with spider mites, or you haven't had wind damage or whatever, or maybe like a fall tour.
Yeah.
Possible. I don't even know.
We're too close to town. Even if we wanted to do tours, I don't think it would really ever be a possibility at this property because we're right on the edge of town.
I think we would be able to do it if it was a one-off.
Yeah, if it's a one-off, nobody bothers you if you have a one-off event.
Yeah.
But if you were doing it on a consistent basis, I wouldn't want that.
No.
If I was a neighbor, I would.
Getting ready for tours is the absolute most stressful, worst thing ever. Like, it's second to getting up on stage and talking to people in a large group.
Sure.
That's like how my ranking goes. Anyway, Jennifer said, can you share your roll recipe? Oh, I was making potato rolls that day. I've shared it before in a vlog, probably buried in a vlog from years ago. I can't remember. I'll probably share it again here soon. It's a good one. Janice said, as those pumpkins deteriorate, the ones in the ground right next to the Hartley doors, will they stay in the doors? They could be pulled away slightly. They're not touching the doors. They're just sitting there on the stone path area. We don't have a whole lot of pumpkins deteriorate.
No.
We'll see. I mean, it's staying so warm.
That sounds like a California question.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? That, like, it's fun. You can tell the different
climate.
Yeah, a warmer climate, or maybe south.
Ours usually just freeze in place.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, we're just gonna stay and stay intact here. But with our weather, who knows? We might see a little bit more deterioration than normal. But every time I do a display, I just think of Bethany's pigs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? It's fine. Because sometimes I feel like I've picked up so many pumpkins. This is like a lot, But then I feel like I'm feeding an animal at the same time. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Prayon Crute said, you have so many doors to your house. Which ones are the main entrances? Do delivery drivers know where to drop off packages, or do you find them delivered to all the different entrances? We find them all over.
Yeah. I mean, technically, the main entrance is the old side of the house, which we kind of never use. Mm-hmm. We use the kitchen door to go in and out, and some people use the Persephone garden door. Mm-hmm. We call it the great room door. Mm-hmm. But
we'll find packages at any or all.
We just kind of watch on the camera. We have cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And we just watch to see where people go.
Yeah, we get
And-
alerts when there's movement anywhere. So,
Yeah.
like, okay, that delivery driver just dropped off at that door, and we
Yeah.
know where to pick it up. So,
Or you go to whatever door somebody's coming to
yeah,
knock.
it's kind of funny to watch. Maybe not. I don't pay attention to it as much now, but in the beginning, it'd be funny to watch somebody new coming into the property. Like, okay,
Yeah.
which one are they going to decide to? Like, where are they going to park? One.
Yeah, I actually on DoorDash you can put a little note, and I just say I think I put deliver to any door,
Yeah.
because what was happening is that they would stop, and they'd be like, "Which door do you want me to bring it to?" or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Or you could tell it took them a long time, and they were confused. So it's like it doesn't matter really what you use, just pick one.
Yep. Stephanie said, what is the rule for watering plants in pots or anything in the garden when you don't have drip lines? Any watering suggestions need to know? Not really. We just have to water them every day, usually, depending on what it is. If there's something in the garden that's in a shadier location or something that just doesn't need as much water, we can go every other day or every third day. Like the mums that I put out on the front steps, those get water every day. We try not to hit the foliage with water because we have really hard water. Also, like with the mums, if you water overhead, and this happens with quite a lot of plants, but it can create a water hole in your plant, like evergreens. It would happen in the nursery all the time for people who are just learning how to water. Like there is an art to watering more
Yeah.
than you would think. Like you don't just put the hose in one side of the can and water one side of the root ball. You water all the way around the root ball. You don't touch the foliage. So like with the mums, I try to snake up under the plant and get my water into the container without touching the bulk of the plant.
That's why you need a Dram water wand. 20% off.
Oh,
Gardenanswer.com.
Erin! Crystal said, love the pumpkins. Question, how do you come up with all these ideas like ringing the pots with rose hips? It's so beautiful and I love that the entire family helps. That would be my mother's influence coming out in me. I've seen her do, and I've done with her so many things throughout the years that every once in a while I'll see something really pretty and I'll think, oh, you know what? I could do this. We've probably done something similar that's like in the back of my brain that I haven't actively been thinking about, but it's there. It's filed away. So I'll think to do some of those sorts of things on occasion. Also, working down at the garden center made me have to learn how to be creative in a thrifty way. I mean, we tried to do everything as,
cheaply
as possible while still having it be pretty. So using a lot of natural elements like that just kind of worked to our favor. Next video was unloading a bunch of new perennials and planting hibiscus. We got in 3 pallets of perennials. A lot of them are designated for the Dreamstream area, and then a couple other fall projects that we have in mind, and they looked so pretty, minus the hibiscus, which they were kind of wilted in the rack when we took them out, but then we took them out and I watered them in, and then I took a bunch of them out to plant.
I think they'll be okay though.
Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll come back fresh next year. I almost want to cut them back right now, though.
Maybe you should.
Maybe, because they're just kind of like just stalks at this point.
Right.
Natalie said, someone planted a chocolate vine in our garden before we bought the house. It's so aggressive for us, winding up and choking out plants. It sends runners and pops up everywhere. We are also zone 6, but in New Jersey, is it aggressive for you? How do you manage it? It is definitely a quick grower, and it thrives in our area. Where I want to put the chocolate vine, that was a vine I had in the high tunnel already. I'm thinking of planting it somewhere on the slope area. I think that might be a really fun spot to have it. And we were thinking of something, because our high tunnels are going to be parallel the red barn back there. One of them is almost done. That's going to be the project today. I think we're going to fill that high tunnel up with our plants and move everything. But so the high tunnels go this way, and there's only I don't know how many feet, and then a drop off down that hill.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, we could do a situation like the T-post with the ranch panel like we have out in the cut flower garden, just behind the high tunnel, so that if anything in our wind, if plants tip over and want to roll, at least it'll be caught by a fence and it won't roll down the hill.
I just don't see them.
You don't think it'll happen?
I don't think they'll ever tip and roll. I think that's.
I don't know, but I was thinking that was a possibility to put up a fence like that and then plant the chocolate vine.
Well, we've
on
got
it.
end walls too. Did you not want the end walls to go on?
No, I do want the end walls, but I was thinking the stuff that's outside, like how we have.
No, just don't put anything there.
But we are putting plants on the outside.
Why?
Because I don't want full sun stuff to be in a shaded high tunnel during the summer.
Can't you put it on either of the sides?
Well, on this side of it, the west side of it. We'll probably line up plants right there on the outside.
Oh, I just can't see anything falling.
I can.
I think
Look, listen.
the ranch panel thing, whenever you want to do ranch panels, it junks
what?
things up so
we have
fast.
the picket fence sections too. I could do the picket fence. Listen, okay, so if you don't want a fence, then you can go retrieve the plants
I
and
will,
roll down the hill.
I will,
Okay.
because it'll never happen.
Well, maybe we'll just plant the
And you
chocolate vine in
can-
the ground and let it ramble on the ground.
You can film me if
Okay.
I have to eat my words.
I'm gonna be over there just
Yeah, you're probably going to put them right on the edge where it's kind of tipping anyway.
Yeah. You never know. There will be a time where a plant goes down that hill.
Well, just don't put it right on the... If you leave like 3 feet, which is easy to do, just leave 3 feet. Because if you put it closer than that, you are probably asking for it. You're going to, aren't you?
No,
I see it in your eyes.
Do that.
You're totally going to.
No, I would not. Linda said, can you divide hostas? Do you just cut them down the middle or do you wait for pups to grow? You can divide hostas. The easiest way to do it is to dig the whole plant if you can. And then you can see easy divisions because they are kind of like you said, or do you wait for pups to grow? It is kind of like a pup situation, like when you have an agave and then it shoots out little baby plants around the center or around the outside. Kind of the same for the hostas. You'll have the main clump and then you'll see a new clump form to the side. You can spread the canopy though and see where those divisions are and just dig that part out. But it's a little easier if you dig the whole plant out. We have done videos on that before. Kathy's Creations said, does anyone know what kind of high tunnel this is?
Gothic arch. It's from Farmer's Friend.
Mm-hmm. And you can get them in different widths, like 14 and 16. I think ours is a 16 and different lengths as well.
Yeah. When I originally bought them, they had like 2 options. And you could get the dome, what do you call that? Quonset?
Yeah.
Or a Gothic style. And now they have all sorts of... They have a lot more variety of options.
The thing I like about the Gothic, I like the lines of it better than just a rounded one, but the sidewalls are a little bit taller before it starts to do its thing, so you can grow more things toward the edges.
Part of that is like an extension kit that you can get. So the higher it is, like that's another option. So you basically choose what you want. Like how high do you want it to go
before the roof starts,
and how much of an extension kit do you want to put on? So you could get a Quonset style that actually is fairly tall.
Sure.
If you wanted.
Gotcha.
But I like the Gothic.
I do too.
I think it looks prettier.
It does.
I don't know.
Happy Gardener said, "Love your planting videos. Do Proven Winners plants produce seeds, or are they dormant? They produce seeds, or are they dormant?
What's
sterile? Maybe sterile. Yeah. I love to plant self seeders in my perennial beds when I can.
I would stay away from most Proven Winners things if that's what you're after. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I mean, I think some things will seed, like, you know.
But most of their stuff is meant to not. Like, because I would.
Most of the time, if your plant's not focusing energy on producing seed, it's going to produce better flowers or more flowers because it's got so much more energy to do that instead of robbing the energy to produce seed. So that's kind of the thought behind that. You get a nicer looking plant in season. I'm trying to think of all the varieties and like which ones we've had.
Yeah.
I've had Russian sage, kind of spread around a little bit.
Like the Denim and Lace?
The Sage Advice.
Oh,
And I love it. I mean, it's not an aggressive spreader, so like it can pop up and it looks a little bit more natural when it does that in the space where I have it. I'm trying to think of anything else that might seed itself or that I've had seed itself. I can't think of anything. If you want something that self-seeds, you need to get some Eryngium and some Echinacea. Just Echinacea purpurea and then that Eryngium. It's steel blue and blue glitter, I think, are the 2 varieties I have out in the cut flower garden, and those go to town with the self-seeding. And they're awesome plants. Joy said, good morning. Do you cut back the hydrangeas in fall or just leave it? We just leave it and we cut them back in late winter, early spring. Donna said, is there a hardy hibiscus that would survive Minnesota 4B winters? I think there is. Lilac Crush is a zone 4 through 9. Holy Grail is a 4 through 9. I think most of these will survive a 4. Yeah. Just go on Proven Winners website and look up Rose Mallow hibiscus. And there are a ton of varieties. And I think, let me check one more. Spinderella is a pretty one. 4 through 9. I think they're all zone 4 through 9. So you are in luck. Okay, next video is how to establish a new leader in a tree and planting perennials. So we have a triple trunk heritage birch behind our pond. 2 of the leaders out of 2 of the trunks died back, and I can't find any borer damage. I thought that's probably what it was. Couldn't find anything like that in them. So I don't know exactly why they died back, but I cut those out and just demonstrated how I will establish a new leader in a tree. And typically we hope to do it on things that aren't as established because, you know, the branches are a little harder they're a little less malleable when you've got bigger tree specimens, but it worked out okay. I think we'll be fine. So we went through that, and then we planted the rest of the hibiscus we didn't get done the day before, plus some Stokes asters that are gorgeous. They're new for next year, and some opalescence phlox, which is an amazing perennial. We've had it in our garden for several years now, and it just produces and performs beautifully. Catherine said, could you please demonstrate how to prune an evergreen for size control? I have a yellow ribbon arborvitae that I love, but is outgrowing the size that was listed on the tag. I think different evergreens you would prune differently too. Like you can candle a tree, like take off the new candles of growth. Like on spruce trees, that's very easy to see because you can see where the new candles are coming out. Arborvitaes are a little harder because they're fluffy. Usually I don't worry about any pruning on the sides. You know, you can shear those up how you need them to be. But when you get to the top, I've never done it though.
Top it?
No, I wouldn't top it because if you top it, then you're going to end up with a wider shrub. Then taller.
But could you just keep trimming the sides then if you...
Maybe, but if you can't have it be over 6 feet.
Yeah, just cut it at 6 feet and then keep trimming the sides, I suppose.
Just like a topiary.
Yeah. I mean, it'll start to turn into, like, it'll look like, it won't be fluffy.
Yeah.
It'll end up being
Well, we noticed,
thick.
like, with the North Pole arborvitaes, the ones in the Color Choice garden, they're very pointy on the top.
Yeah.
And they have been trained to where there is a designated leader. And I think if you get after these plants young enough, because I have seen young arbs where you can tell, like, there are a lot of competing, like, upward branches with arbs, and you can tell where some have been topped, and there's, like, a designated one that's up
I don't know how to do that, though. I've never seen I've never watched like a video or seen I've never watched a video or I guess in person, seen an example of someone trimming an arb correctly. I've seen lots of videos of people how to, do leaders on trees, but never arbs. So I don't know.
We should ask Color Choice. Like,
yeah,
you guys should put together a video about this.
Maybe they do. Maybe they have one.
Maybe
I
they
just
do.
need to.
But because we've noticed, and we've had the same question with our North Poles here, because ours in the hedge, and it doesn't matter because we are growing ours as a wall, not as individual specimens, but ours don't have like that very pointy shape at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely get a little more narrow, but not like.
Well, the only issue with ours is they would splay out a little bit, and I went through one year and tied them up with tree rope, and I think the tree rope is still in there. I never cut it down.
No, they look good.
I think it's probably going to be fine just to leave it there. I mean, I basically just wrapped a string around it and then tied it
loosely,
so that so that it would just keep going up instead of out.
I think that's fine. Yeah. Deborah said, what would happen if you just lop the dead and let it go from there? You might just have like a wonky shaped top. And I don't think it wouldn't hurt the tree. It just would be not as pleasant of a silhouette in the wintertime when it doesn't have leaves on it. Edith said, did Laura give up on wearing a hat? Yes. I can't. I just can't. Like, it's just not.
It's not your nature.
It's not. It's just not who I am. I tried just because I know the sun is so bad. It's so bad for your skin. And as you do age and you start to see like little sunspots, you start to see those things. You think, I need to like be better about things. And so I am diligent about sunscreen. I definitely am. But the hat thing, it makes me so hot and claustrophobic. I just like don't feel like the freedom it's kind of like wearing socks, I'm more used to it now. I wear socks and shoes most of the time because it's better for my back. Aging sucks. Rawls said, what would happen if you don't cut the hibiscus back? Then you'd have ugly, dead-looking branches. They don't sprout new leaves. So they would sprout new growth from the bottom, and you'd have, stuff grow up. But eventually it would get so thick with dead branches that it would probably choke out new growth. Thelma said, when you cut the tape off, will you cut off the old stump more? Probably cut it off a little bit more. I had to leave it so long because of the flexibility of the branches. I needed that extra strength at this point. But once that branch that I've trained upward hardens a little bit more, we can take the tape off and cut the stump down. It won't hurt it to stay though, so you wouldn't have to. Vicky said, will the plants root in when the soil is so compacted? They will. It's surprising. Once you start irrigating something that you've planted, the soil will soften up around it. The day before when we planted the first 10 hibiscus, I actually had to get Aaron's help because I could not get the auger to go down. It would go down about this far, and then it was just like this. It was just crazy hard. And Aaron had a hard time too. In fact, I had to go get smaller augers so we could drill like a little pilot hole and then use a larger auger. We had 3 augers out there to dig those holes. But once you start irrigating, it really does soften and things do well. Thankfully, the hibiscus are bog plants. Like you can put them in a bog and they're happy. So, I mean, even if it wasn't super well draining around them, they will thrive. Okay, next video is planting a new flower bed at my parents' house. So that was a fun project. My mom had picked out a bunch of stuff to plant in that little area where we planted the birch tree before by their deck, and then also some things to go out in a flower bed that we put annuals in earlier this year, but they were finished and they pulled those out. So we got some beautiful things planted. There was Quickfire Fab hydrangeas, Niagara Falls panicum, some Pure Joy. No, it wasn't Pure Joy sedum. It was a different variety. It was a Proven Winners though. Serendipity alliums. There were some Pocahontas anemones, Bubble Bath alliums, and Brandywine viburnum. When I got out there, I saw the amount of plants that were placed around where the birch was planted, and I just thought, I'm going to be here all day long, because when we planted that birch tree, it's really nearby where the locust tree was, and it took us like an hour to dig the hole for that birch tree. We had the reciprocating saw out to just cut huge roots that were underneath the soil. So I thought it was going to be like that, and our auger just ripped through everything in that space. We had to shift, I think, 2 plants because we came up on like something that was very, very sizable. So we shifted 2 of them. The rest of the roots, like the auger was just ripping right through. Benjamin all good? Smith all good? Yeah. Aaron just had to run inside. Anyway, I was super impressed with our augers at that point, and it took us maybe, I don't know, an hour and a half to get the whole project done. And then Benjamin and I picked out some corn stalks and then ornamental corn so they could have some things to decorate with. We took those out with us. Michelle said, can you give me the botanical name for the wire vine? I am not finding it here in Houston. Is it Muehlenbeckia? Yeah, Muehlenbeckia axillaris. Muehlenbeckia. Muehlenbeckia. Amy said, I love the birch trees close to the house. Curious what variety of birch? Was this the Jackmanai birches, I think? Yeah, that's how we say it. I don't know if that's how you actually say it. It looks like Jacques Monty. Kind of looks like that. But they get quite sizable, like 30 to 50 feet tall. 25, probably 30 feet wide. It'll be a beautiful tree right there. It already is. Those white trunks are so gorgeous. Julie said, question on the area by the spruce stump and Brandywine. Can you use Bonide stump out on that, or will it decay on its own? Bonide stump out is something that we used when we did the sumacs, right, Aaron? That brush on. Yeah. So it kills the stump and it prevents any further growth, which we haven't had. The sumacs have not been an issue.
No, I think
they're just gone.
Yeah.
So.
How about that?
So happy about that. Anyway, so you can paint that on, that stuff, if you don't want any sprouts coming up. This tree, I think they took it out last year, I think. Anyway, it hasn't even attempted to sprout anything from it, so they'll probably just let it decay on its own now that things are planted around it. Playlist said, does ornamental corn get earwigs too? I'm sure it could. Ours did not. I've never had any of my corn get earwigs, but I would bait if that was a problem. I'd just do the slug and bug killer around the bottom of the corn plants, and that would take care of it. Kathy said, such a great craft idea. Love the dried leaves. Can you do pine boughs or flowers? Oh, I had to really think about that. So I showed you the oak leaves that my mom preserved with glycerin, and we're running some experiments on other things as well, where you do boiling water, 2 parts boiling water to 1 part glycerin, and you insert your freshly cut stems right into that mixture, like when the water's still boiling, and your plants suck up that glycerin water, and it preserves your plants. Not all of them take it the same way, but I've bought preserved oak leaves before. I still have some in my fall decorating tubs, and they just stay good forever. So my mom tried it with some of her oak leaves, and they look really good. So it'd be worth trying for lots of different things. I don't know. I've never done pine boughs before, so it might work. I don't know. Yeah, my experience is not extensive, but I do have some glycerin. I tried boxwood one time, but I didn't know about the boiling water trick. So it didn't work out for me all that great. Paula said, parents have such a beautiful property. I love seeing all of you together. That was a fun project. Laura, we never see your brother. Is he camera shy? No, he's not camera shy. He's just busy. Our work lives don't really cross paths all that often because he's just busy with other things. I have been trying to talk him into an aquascape sort of situation though.
Oh yeah.
Because they love like the pond thing, but they want to do some sort of a really natural looking hot tub with like a falls going into, something like that. I'm like, oh, they could totally do something like that. So, and then Joe was talking about maybe doing it next year or something like that, and then we can landscape around it. So we might head over there. It's been a while. We did that patio project over there.
Yeah.
When
Still
Benjamin
there?
was a baby.
Yeah.
He was 3 months old,
Yeah.
3.5 months old. Oh boy, and we did not have like any steady person to like come and watch him.
Right.
That was tough. And I wasn't filming myself a whole lot back then, was I?
Well, I mean, for that project, no.
We needed nice cameras for that project because it was for Home Depot, I think. Yeah.
I mean, it was a Home Depot sponsored project.
Yeah. Oh my. I would never agree to that now.
No.
No.
That's funny. I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, it seems like another lifetime ago now.
Yeah.
Verve said, when fall planting perennials, how much time before the first freeze do you need, or does it matter? For me, it doesn't matter. I just plant whenever it's good and whenever we can dig a hole. I feel like plants are better off in the ground than they are in their nursery containers trying to winter them through. I think the most important thing is to make sure they don't dry out. And it's something you're not thinking about through the winter months, but if you have dry spells where you've got lots of wind and it's real cold, that can dry out the root ball and the plant, you could risk having it die. The professionals or growers in the industry will tell you to not plant anything after like the 6-week mark. You need 6 weeks between when you planted and your first average hard frost, which is like 28 degrees or lower. That 6 weeks is a long time though. Like, I don't know who follows that actual advice.
Yeah.
Okay, the last group of questions are from the recap from last week. Donna said, why do you no longer have hoodies in your store? I have had mine for a few years and need to replace them.
I think Ken was going to order more. He was trying to get other stuff. I don't really know, but
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Because we need to have hoodies. Especially right now, we should have hoodies.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be something we're out of. Something we're out of. I don't know. Jamie said, other than the oak leaf hydrangeas, do you have to treat all of your hydrangeas for chlorosis? I'm really tired of treating all of mine. We do have to treat a lot of our hydrangeas for chlorosis. It's not just oak leaf hydrangeas. The Invincible Sublimes, they've been struggling all year with the iron deficiency. Quickfire Fabs, we haven't had to, right? Have you treated them?
I might have.
Limelights, did you treat those?
Yeah.
Yeah. It might have just
But
been
it's
a once
not
a
every
season.
year.
Right,
It's like,
it's true.
you know what I mean? So it's totally all over the board.
Yeah.
I
it is
mean,
true.
there's some trees that I don't treat because they look great. And then
Yeah.
there's other trees that just need it.
Yeah.
And some trees that just need it 1 year and then you don't do it again. I don't know.
Linda said, will you be writing English or Western? Probably Western. I did take some English writing lessons before, and it was fun, but it's just a little bit I want it to be relaxed, you know? And I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm open to both. I've ridden both ways, so. Lori said, I heard that pine needles help to increase acidity to the soil. Do you find that your acid-loving plants do better in proximity to your pine trees? It's such a slow breakdown on the pine needles. It would take forever for them to actually create any sort of acidity in our soil. And in order to do that, they would need more rain. So it's kind of a no-go for us. Bummer. Double Take Brat said, I'm a big reader as well. What do you like to read, Laura? I like to read a lot of different things. I'm not a huge fan of fantasy, but everything else pretty much I like to read. Right now I'm in one of Kristen Hanna's books. I can't remember the title of it. It's Firefly Lane. I think that's what it's called. I loved like The Nightingale and the Women. That was really good. I just finished The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult, something like that. That was a great one. Anyway, I have a huge stack of books right now to get through, and a huge stack I'm going to send off with my sister. They're all Kristen Hanna. It's like a stack this big that I made it through in the last couple of months. So I'll send those home with Monica and she can try them out. Audrey said, wait, were you a vet before? No, I worked at a vet clinic for 5.5 years. And it was fun. I had really good friendships there, and it was a fun time. I worked there right out of high school for a little while I went to college here. I went to the community college here in our town. And then I went away for a little bit and then came back. And after Aaron and I were married, I worked there for another couple of years after that point, before I started working at the bank, which is the worst. Yeah. Julia said, I purchased some allium bulbs. When is the best time to plant? How many bulbs do you plant together? Right now you can plant them and it'll show you the spacing on the bag. I think for alliums, you want to space them a little bit further apart. Juniper said, how did you order chichalpas? I couldn't order them from the Primo Winter site. Says only sold in stores. Please help.
Probably means that they don't have any to ship out. I mean, that's probably the same as saying sold out, but instead of that, they're telling you where to go.
Where to go.
It's like, well, we
Because
don't
you were
have
able
any.
to order some
Yeah.
When are they supposed to be here?
That was a while ago. I don't know.
Oh, like spring or fall?
I think they're going to come probably any day.
Well, that'll be fun. They're the best. Oh, when we drive around in the evening time, just looking at things and chatting, and we could smell those. They smell so good. Okay, last question. Down Sprig Lane said, I bought small bags of Biotone from you guys, but would like the big bags you guys use. Do you plan on selling the big bags one day or not? And if not, why?
Probably just shipping. I think like a single bag would be like, $30-$40 to ship.
Oh, so more for the shipping than
Yeah, you'd
for the
probably pay
actual
more for
fertilizer.
shipping than you would for the actual product.
Shoot.
It's just heavy, and that kind of stuff is just really tough to ship.
I think their distribution has gotten better, though. I think a lot of garden centers have it.
It just depends on where you are.
Sure.
If you're in like the California area, probably would have a really tough time finding it. But if you live anywhere on the East Coast or the Midwest, like
everywhere.
you probably can't even go to a garden center that wouldn't have it.
I see it at all of our garden centers around here.
Yeah, around here it's pretty. But again, it just depends on where you're at. I think that the West, like I want to say maybe I don't know about the Pacific Northwest, but I do know California is kind of a little bit of a dead spot for Espoma.
And you guys, that is it for this week's recap video. It was a great week full of fun projects and good stuff happening this week too. Lots of things that you're about to see that are like big things that are fun.
Exciting.
Yeah, so like next recap video will be a fun one to talk about some of these new things that I can see from my window right here. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you're having a great day. Have a great week, and we'll see you in the next one.